Good morning, Aurora. I am Emir Rodriguez with the weather here, and without further ado, let's get into it. On Monday, we have it's going to be a cloudy day with a small chance of flurries, and the lowest point will be 36 and the highest will be 39 on that day. Monday night, it's going to be cloudy as well, with the lowest being 27 and the highest being 32. Tuesday, tomorrow, it's going to be a breezy day with an elevated risk of wildfires. The lowest point will be 53 and the highest will be 58. Tuesday night, it's going to be partially cloudy with the lowest point being 26 and the highest being 32. Wednesday, we have it's also going to be a partially cloudy day, the lowest point being 37 and the highest being 43. Wednesday night, it's going to be a bit cloudy. The lowest chance of the temperature being 21 and the highest being 28. And then on Thursday, it's going to be cloudy with the lowest point being 37 and the highest being 44. Thursday night, it's going to be cloudy, and we have a 60 to 80% chance of it being snow. Lowest point being 27 and the highest being 33. On Friday, we have a 20 to 30% chance of it being snow, with the lowest point being 40 and the highest being 50. Friday night, we have it's going to be cloudy with a low 24 and a high 32. This is Emir Rodriguez with the weather here, and I'll be seeing you soon on Friday. Peace out.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 8:58 a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It is Monday, the 18th of March, and it's a nice day outside. It is chilly, and I want to say thank you once again to Emir Rodriguez, our great new weatherman on Mondays and Fridays. We also have Ruby Sue doing the weather on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So I'm actually very, very happy to see that young people are taking part in it, and things are moving along quite well. Our show, for those of you who've been watching us for some time, is definitely turning into a full, robust program. And that really means a lot to me. It's very special, and it allows us to do two things that are very key. On the one hand, you guys are going to see a whole lot more programming here on the show. So I've told you guys before, it's not about me, it's about you. It's about you as people, you as families, you as household, you as individuals, and you as listeners as well. So a whole lot more of the things that you guys are up to are going to fill in the spaces here. You're going to see a lot more content that's local and from people who are just like you. The other thing that you will see is cool comedy, fun stuff, and sketches. We're going to do a whole lot more of that. Last week we did Hall City, and this week we're going to try a couple more things. So things are really coming up and looking up. We've got a great guest for you guys today too, as well at the halfway point. But before we go any further, let's check in with the people. Michael Reyes is here. Good morning to you, Michael Reyes. Daniel Calderon. Good morning, Daniel Calderon. Tracy Duran is here as well. She says, good morning, friends. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing really good today. All right. And then Davy Samantha Danner is here as well. Good morning to you. And Alvin Soto is here. Good morning to you guys. So you guys may have seen that Fat Joe and Twista were in town recently over the weekend at the Piazza. So shouts out to our dear friend DJ Spanky D, who was there, Freddie, House 13, Yo Kev. A lot of great people were in the house for that event, and it was really cool to see. But let me know how you guys are doing in the chat as well. You could put an emoji in the chat or tell me how you feel today. I hope that you guys are feeling blessed and energetic and ready to go, man. We got a lot of great stuff happening this week. Okay, so we are gonna do a couple of things today. We've got the news that you guys need up top, so we're gonna give you guys, Alex, let's give them the first top three. Yeah, there we go. We'll give them these first three real quick. As you guys know, as I've told you guys for a while now, this year, 2024, is especially big with Good Morning Aurora because we're going to showcase a whole lot more family. Family. Say it with me. Family. Right? You better be saying it at home. A whole lot more family. A whole lot more wellness. A whole lot more togetherness. This year, it's going to be a lot of that on Good Morning Aurora. Starting off, we have the 17th Annual Community Health Fair, which is going to be coming up. Health and Wellness Matter. This is going to be on the 23rd, so it's this Saturday coming up, and it's a free event sponsored by the Aurora African American Health Coalition. Now, there's going to be a blood drive by Versity taking place as well. Once again, it's a free event. It's on your screen right here. No-cost health screenings beginning at 9 a.m. Activities for children. Giveaways, healthy snacks, free women undergarments, and free household items as well. So you guys can sign up by going to empower.health. Returning participants, if you've previously created an account, you sign in under Welcome Back. Now, in addition to being presented by the Aurora African American Health Coalition, this is sponsored by Kane County Health Department, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, Ascension, and Fox Valley Park District. It's going to be at the Prisco Center this Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. So come on out for a good time. Verify your email to complete the registration process. All righty. Good morning, Alvin. So coming up next is the Neighbor Projects Volunteer Workshop taking place on Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon. This is going to be a great time for you to learn about the Neighbor Project, also volunteer, give back to your community, check in, have a good time with a brother, and coffee, donuts, and water are provided. These events are very helpful because the families that we have that work with or live in Neighbor Project properties, some of them are World Relief families. It means so much for them to see folks from the neighborhood pitching in and showing them the benefits of home ownership and also how to maintain and take care of a home as well. So once again, it's going to be the 24th, which is this Sunday. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to noon. And if you would like to volunteer for this or future events, all you have to do is text your first name and the word volunteer to 331-256-7782. The number again is 331-256-7782. Okay. All right. And next is estate planning. Very important stuff. Didn't I just tell you about family? Estate Planning 101, protect your family's future. Join for this complimentary seminar to learn more about what to consider when creating a personal plan to protect your family's future. This is going to be Thursday, April 25th, 9 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. at the Oswego Public Library, 32 West Jefferson Street in Oswego, Illinois. This is sponsored by the Community Foundation of the Fox River Valley, Mickey Wilson Wheeler, Renzi, Leonard, and Julian, and the Elder Law Center law firm. All right. So once again, the information is on your screen. Thursday, April 25th, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. All right. The time is 9:04 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. DJ Swabby Smooth is here in the chat. DJ Swabby Smooth, what it is, my brother, good morning to you. DJ Swabby Smooth is a dear friend of the show. He was recently at the ribbon cutting for the workforce development at 100 Oak Avenue. That's the former Todd Elementary School on the city's west side, New York and Oak Street. That is very big as workforce and affordable housing, different units, and it also has on-site health care provided by VNA Healthcare. So I know what you're saying to yourself. Hold on, Curtis, wait a minute. Hold up. Curtis, are you telling me that they got workforce housing, affordable units with health care on the facility? Yes. Those are called wraparound services. Wraparound services are meant to remove barriers from people. Think about this. Let me paint this picture in your mind. Imagine if you've got enough to live, but not enough to have a car. How do you get groceries? How do you get health care? That's deep, right? Think about that. Think about you've got enough to pay your bills, you got enough to keep your lights on, but you have to go across town yonder, catch 2 buses just to go see your doctor. That is the reality for a lot of people, not just in Aurora, but in America. So that's the reason why wraparound services up to and including healthcare are a boon. The word of the day is boon, are a boon to the community. So the development of 100 Oak Avenue is great. You can take tours there, go check it out, and let them know that you heard about it on Good Morning Aurora. It's also right across the street from a famous old school place called Don Walker's Sandwich Shop. And if you ever go in there, get the number 6, the Italian beef giardiniera tall lemonade, light ice. The time is 9:06 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. I was telling you about DJ Swabby Smooth. He also does Ladies Night at the Red Room on New York Street. So if you go there, ladies, get your dance on, sip little winey wine right in the bottom, and it's really nice. Got the red lights. It's like Sting and the Police. Roxanne! You don't have to dance with me. You don't have to beat us out tonight. Roxanne, put on a red light. You guys remember that? That was a good one. Yeah, see? All right. Time is 9:07. So, good morning to you. Luz Elena Brambila Guerrero is here. Good morning to Luz as well. Luz is one half of the dynamic and fantastic husband and wife team, the Woodcrafters, by Juan and Luz. They do so much great stuff for the community, supporting veterans, first responders, and firefighters. Particularly, get to know them and all the great products that they have by following them on Facebook and at the Aurora Farmers Market. And Aisha Saxon, hit the like button for y'all. Aisha Saxon is here as well. Good morning to you, Aisha Saxon. Alex, let's give him another 3 real quick, big dog. Let's hit him with, let's do that. I like the fade in. Y'all like the fade in? The fade in's cool, man. All right. Kane County Circuit Clerk and friend of the show, Teresa Barrero, has her birthday breakfast for dinner. Now, I remember when I saw this, I saw the time. It was like 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm like, who's eating bacon at 5 p.m.? I do, right? Bacon's good anytime. Okay, but this birthday breakfast for dinner event is going to be March 21st, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Orchard Valley Restaurant, 2411 West Illinois Avenue. Individual tickets are $30. Sponsorship levels are on the screen as well as on this flyer. They start at the brass level, go up to the gold level. Scan the QR code for tickets and sponsorships as well. So the flyer has all the details that you need. We've shared this flyer on our Facebook and Instagram as well, so please be sure to check it out. The time is 9:08 a.m. All right. Also, coming up on the 29th is a fantastic presentation by Fresh Start City Church. It's called Death's Defeat, a Good Friday production. It's going to be March 29th at 7 p.m. at the church, 10 South Lancaster. That's the corner of Lancaster and Galena here on Aurora's west side. Death's Defeat is a homegrown production for Good Friday by the church. That means that everybody who's taken part in it is a member of the church or affiliated with the church. So this will be really cool. So it's going to be, once again, March 29th, 7 p.m., 10 South Lancaster. You don't want to miss it. All right. And next up is Easter. Juan Cayetano is here. Good morning to you, Juan. Silly Rabbit, Easter is for Jesus. Fresh Start City Church presents this in addition to being presented by Square One Kids. Easter service just for kids. How about that? Calling all ages 5 through 12. Join for Easter Sunday, an amazing Easter experience. Together, we will discover the true meaning of Easter. There will be fun learning activities, and every kid goes home with a special Easter surprise. They hope to see you there. Once again, it's going to be at 10 South Lancaster Avenue in Aurora, March 31st from starting at 11:30 a.m. and going till about 2. You never know. And actually, this Easter made me want to bring something to you guys this morning, too. Who remembers a good Easter story? You guys got any good Easter stories? If you have a good Easter memory with your family, with your dad, with your mom, or a good Easter story, put that in the chat. I'm going to share with you guys a really cool Easter story, and it'll give you a little bit of context about why the show is the way it is. But I remember going to like Easter events before I knew what Easter was really about and everything. And I remember the Easter egg hunt. Easter egg hunts now, I think, are a lot more commercialized. Can I say that? They're a lot more just cookie cutter. Easter now is, you walk into Walmart or your favorite store, and the aisles used to be big with all kind of Easter stuff. Now they're smaller. And I remember the first time I saw Easter eggs that were plastic. I thought that plastic Easter eggs were for like the kids who didn't have a lot, right? We always just had eggs. Everywhere I ever went, there was eggs, like the actual egg, hard-boiled eggs. And I remember the first time I saw Easter eggs that were plastic, and I was like, wow, this must be for the unfortunate. It didn't really dawn on me that there was no materialism behind Easter. Easter was about it's about Jesus, but Easter was about, for us, the camaraderie, the togetherness, the family atmosphere of it, the whole backyard being full. Where I grew up at, you had Easter and barbecue. Dad's got the grill, but everybody's over here with Easter eggs, And again, it wasn't until I started growing up and getting older and kind of going through the rigors of life that I realized that, like, all of that meaning, all of what was special was really the family aspect. It was the togetherness. It was going to church, right? Then you get out of church. Then you go to somebody's house for the Easter egg hunt, the barbecue and everything, ribs and eggs. How about it? And then after that, you hang with your family. Everybody goes home, and it's still a nice day. Now it's over and done with in just one day, man, in just a few hours, So it's really amazing where we've come as a society. So I do like promoting the Easter stuff. I do like that Fresh Start City Church does that and kind of and ties that community in, because I think that one of the things that we really need to cherish as a people and as individuals are the things that make us happy. And we got to make new memories for our kids and the next generation, right? But anyway, don't get me started. 9:13 is the time to listen to or watch a Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Maria Chirito is here. Good morning to you, Maria Chirito. And Ruby Sue is here. Good morning to Ruby Sue. Ruby Sue, we're doing the weather tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday here on Good Morning Aurora. Alex, let's hit him with another 3, big dog. Let's. Whoo! We're getting there, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting there. All right. Cuisine for a cause. So, Fox Valley Hands of Hope. By a show of hands that I can't see, how many people are familiar with Fox Valley Hands of Hope? Fox Valley Hands of Hope is a fantastic organization. One of the things that they do and do well is provide grief counseling. They have grief retreats and different things to help people get over grief, deal with grief, accept and move on with full and productive lives. Cuisine for a Cause is coming up. It's going to be April 28th from 4 to 7 p.m. Now, I have the location. It's not on this flyer. Duh. You don't see it. I have the location on a separate flyer, which was sent to me just this morning. I will present that flyer, put that on our social media so that you guys can click the adjoining link, get tickets, get more information, learn about sponsorships, and learn how you can support Fox Valley Hands of Hope. They do a whole lot, but this is going to be Cuisine for a Cause. There is a famous chef who is going to be here at this event. I'm not going to tell you his name, because if I tell you the name and I don't give you the location, you'll be like, Curtis, how are you going to tell me this famous chef? I don't even know where to go. So I won't do that to you. But save the date, April 28th, 4 to 7 p.m. Whew. All right. Now, this is the first humdinger here. Actually, hold on. Let's read what Luz Elena Brambila Guerrero said. We made Easter eggs filled with dog snacks for our dog and played, but Shadow, our dog, started eating them. We had to take them away from him, and we just opened so he could have his snacks. Thankfully, he was fine. Well, thank goodness. That Shadow. What a cool name for a dog, right? We hope Shadow's all right. Shadow, you okay? Woof, woof. Maria Torito, good morning to you. Okay, if you have any other cool family stories of Easter, please put those in the chat. We want to share those. We want to highlight something cool in your life, something meaningful in your life regarding Easter, mom, dad, the kids, or family. The time is 9:15 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Anyway, on the screen is the March Parent Power Center calendar. Now, our friends of Kofi, Community Organizing and Family Issues, and Padres Lideres have a great amount of events that are coming up. So, the next events are going to be today. NAMI and Suicide Prevention Services have a security plan workshop from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Tomorrow is Parent Cafe from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And then on Wednesday is the workshop Goals for Children, and that's going to be from 5 to 7 p.m. as well. And then on Friday, they have the Healing Circle from 5 to 7 p.m. So all of the events that they have at this Parent Power Center are bilingual. It's located at 850 Ridgeway Avenue, Suite E here in Aurora. 630-692-3925 is the number that you need. Get in touch, learn more about our dear friends of Padres Lideres and Kofi by following them on Facebook. They do a whole lot of good in the community. All right. And then last but not least, Rachel Cleghorn is here. Good morning to you, Rachel. Good to see you. NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Health, has also teamed up and has a space at the Parent Power Center. Now, NAMI offers support groups for people who are experiencing a mental illness or have a family member with mental health diagnosis. They are parents who are certified focused on the NAMI model. Now, this is going to take place every second and fourth Thursday of the month from 6 to 8 p.m. The Parent Power Center is open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 9 to 11 a.m. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 to 6 p.m., okay? 850 Ridgeway is the avenue. Get in touch with them on Facebook, 630-692-3925. Now, NAMI is a very important organization. You're going to see a whole lot more NAMI information here on Good Morning Aurora. We're proud to support NAMI and everything they do, all of their mission. Okay, now, that is the news for you guys. So, I have something to show you. Alex, do we have the Amore Mio clip back there, the little quick one where Roberta was walking through? If we have the Amore Mio clip, let's show them that real quick, because in that clip is the location where DJ Suave Smooth is doing the Red Room on New York. So if we have that clip, Alex, can you play that? And then we'll come right back. You don't have the clip?
No, it's not queued up. I would have to re-record it again.
You know what's funny about this? So a lot of people can't see Alex here, but this is a really cool view right now. They're like, we don't have, you guys are watching kind of behind the screen, behind the scenes here on Good Morning Aurora. Okay, no, that's all good, Alex, anyway. But if we can, what we'll do is we will go to a commercial right now up top, and then we'll introduce our guest. Thank you, homie. I appreciate it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will, this is fun. Hold up, before you go to commercial, Alex, this is a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun. I've always believed in life that you got to roll with it. See, what you guys just witnessed was TV, teamwork, cooperation, and comedy. Now for a commercial.
Imagine what's possible when a city makes an unprecedented investment, a commitment that reshapes a city's landscape forever, that equalizes economic opportunity, elevates education for all, empowers businesses, inspires collaboration between institutions, improves public services, and enhances the lives of every resident. Now, imagine that city is ours. We know it's possible because other cities have done it. Places like Longmont, Colorado, a community that leveraged its investment in municipal electricity and upgraded its substations to create a 17-mile fiber loop, delivering critical connectivity to the city's institutions, organizations, and small businesses, achieving an incredibly high adoption rate. And in Pharr, Texas, a border town of 80,000, voted the least connected city in America, invested in 700 miles of fiber, delivering broadband managed services that are enriching residents' lives. Cities, towns, and regions are stepping up all over America. There is no question that Aurora can and deserves to be America's next great smart city. But it's up to us. We have a responsibility we can't ignore to see everyone living in our city, regardless of economic status, having broadband services that are simple, efficient, safe, and powerful. Imagine children having safe internet access anywhere, never needing to connect outside of a fast food restaurant. Imagine every building in every neighborhood and retail outlet, new and old, modernized, intuitive, secure. Imagine exciting subscribers with the ultimate broadband experience and giving parents control over all of it. Imagine deploying cyberbullying protection that notifies parents throughout Aurora that their kids are being bullied and providing resources to protect them. Imagine a city with first responders seamlessly connected and with safer public spaces. Can you see this smart city? Can you see our future? We do. Aurora is ready for world-class connection that serves our residents, that helps businesses grow and unifies our community. Let's take this opportunity to give all of our residents, businesses, and community organizations the advantages that come with unrivaled broadband infrastructure and services. Let's come together and deliver a world where digital equity creates a city that is smarter, safer, and sustainable for generations to come.
Not your bank's top priority? Here at Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. No hidden fees or runarounds, but a true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. Whether you're opening your first account, found your dream home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have the financial solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank. Wintrust, different approach, better results.
All right. Good morning, everybody. We are back. The time is 9:23 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. As mentioned, we have a fantastic guest. Back for a part 2 is Mr. Jim Cherry. He is the author of the Lion Commnuique. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Curtis, how are you doing today?
I'm all right, man. Good to see you. Good to
Nice
see
seeing
you.
you.
So let's do, here we go. There we go. The Lion Commnuique, fantastic book, great artwork as well. And this is Jim's second time on the show. So the first time that we interviewed Jim, we were at the FEC building, as we talked about, man. So glad to have you back. All right. So I want to read real quick from the inside jacket, and then we'll get into the book. So the battlefield isn't the only place wars are fought. The Lion Commnuique are darkly wound stories infused with the power of myth, not only in the ancient classical sense, as well as the myths we create for ourselves. As you read the Lion Commnuique, subconscious themes emerge. War, life as a remembered act, the boundaries of good and evil, and the hope of redemption. Right. First of all, the title, The Lion Commnuique, where does it come from?
Comes from, well, its actual origin story is that it was part of a line of a poem that I wrote a long time ago, and that was the only part of the poem I liked. So, but I think more so, like communique has associations with messages or missives from outside of the society or outside of the mainstream. Mm-hmm. And so I think that those stories kind of are my point of view, or the point of view of the characters in the books, looking in and looking at life and how we live it and how they live it.
Right. How long have you been an author?
Well, it depends on how you count. I decided I wanted to be a writer when I was 12. But I really started buckling down when I was like 19 or 20, and I started, massive reading, just reading a lot of books at a time, and and then just start writing my own stuff. So of course it was terrible, and I've thrown out all those notebooks.
What kind of stuff were you writing? Was it reflective of where you were at that time? Is that how it works?
Yeah, it was highly reflective. I always read when in my teenage, I read a lot of science fiction. I read everything, wherever my curiosity took me. It's like I'd read one thing in a book, see something that catch my eye, and go to that.
Right.
And I just wasn't reading science fiction. I was reading everything. It's like I was reading books my parents didn't. My mother didn't want me reading. Fear of Flying. I think that book. I think I made that a bestseller by the number of times.
Fear of Flying.
Yeah,
never heard of it.
Oh, Erica Jong. It was big in the 70s, but
I'm gonna write that down. Hold on, I'm gonna check that out. Your mom didn't want you to read it.
Yeah, so I think I made it a bestseller just by the number of times she confiscated the book.
Nice.
And, so I read everything. If it was popular, I read everything. I'd go to classics: Joyce, Hemingway, Fitzgerald. Science fiction, I was reading Harlan Ellison, Philip Jose Farmer, Isaac Asimov, of course. Ray Bradbury.
Oh, yeah.
So all those people. So I've read everything. I was also reading, in my late teens, a lot of philosophy. So when I first started writing, in my 20s, that's why I got rid of all those notebooks. They're all like these philosophical tracts.
Right.
Nobody wants to read that, or it's not entertaining, you know. So I kind of had to work, I think any writer, when they're starting writing, they have to write out their influences and kind of get rid of them until they find their own voice. And
okay.
So you have to, whatever influences you have, you're following their footsteps and you're writing it, but you have to write it all out of yourself until you hit what you find in yourself.
That's amazing. Okay, so I want to ask this now. So, the battlefield isn't the only place wars are fought. What does that mean? Where else are people fighting wars?
Well, you were talking about families earlier. Families, unfortunately, there's a lot of rockiness in the familial relationships. So that's a place that wars are fought. In your own, you said heart. I probably would go more with soul.
Yep.
We're bicameral beings with two hemispheres of the brain, so there's kind of the warring in between.
Right.
Which of ourselves is going to be dominant, or which of ourselves we want to be.
Fighting the good parts of yourself as opposed to the bad parts of yourself. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So the reflection part of the book is, for me, the thing that like excites me about it, because I think I am, I don't know if anybody else would be like, I'm always reflecting and analyzing like myself, one always wants to do better. But that internal monologue, as my friend Sam was like, that's always playing in your head too, and you're always thinking like, am I doing the best? What can I do in this situation? How can I make it better? Or what should I do, if you're having that battle? So let's talk about some of the table of contents, some of the title chapters.
Sure.
The Seas Have No Stars.
That is a science fiction one. It's very, I have, I guess, animals. I have a lot of concern about animal welfare and things like that.
Okay.
And that's not where I started writing it because I wanted a science fiction story. I had a start of a story in my head about a UFO and a captain, a fisherman captain out at sea, and they run across this UFO and what's going on with it and everything. So, but it turns out, and I didn't really even have this planned in my head, but when I started writing it, because sometimes stories, you start something, as people always ask me, how do you write a story? And I said, as long as I know the beginning and the end of the story, I can write the middle. It'll fill itself out.
Okay.
So when I was writing it, I didn't even have any idea about, what the subject, the theme might be. It turns out to be kind of, because this guy is a fisherman, he owns a fishing boat, and he's always, of course, exploiting the sea and its things.
Right.
And its sea and the life in it. So that when the UFO shows up, it kind of turns the tables on him. And so he's kind of treated as maybe how he's treated
the world.
The life that he's found in the sea.
You used the word exploitive.
Exploited. Humans, we exploit all our resources, even just using resources is exploiting it in some way. Farming is exploiting it.
Right.
Exploiting it. It doesn't necessarily have a bad connotation to it, because there is a place for, of course, we don't have fishermen, we don't have farmers exploiting the earth, exploiting the resources of the sea. We don't have food, right?
Right.
So it's not necessarily a bad connotation when I use the word exploit.
Right. Okay, I get you. All right, the games children play.
That's one of the first war stories in there, and it just it's basically, well, not basically, it is the day in the life of a kid on a Saturday afternoon, just whiling away his day, playing with friends, and it takes place. It most definitely takes place in the '60s when I was a kid. You can kind of tell that because there's references to Vietnam and everything in there. And it just kind of about the, if you want to get deep about it, it's kind of about the culture that we're raised in, because since the end of World War II, we've had a war, wartime economy all the time, right? So it kind of takes that looks at that through the eyes of a kid and playing and how that playing can turn into very adult consequences.
Right. Absolutely. I saw once upon, I think it was a kitchen sticker, but it was like, kids always play war, but they never play peace.
Yeah, that's true.
I
wish I thought of that.
It's so now that brings me to another question though about the book. The book is a reflection of you and your life.
Of course, yes. Any writer, I think any book is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to read a little bit about you, Jim. You were born in Chicago. Although you missed out on all the cool things, you read your grandmother's.
Yeah.
Well, we got to be honest about ourselves in our own books, right? Jim, I love you, man. He read his grandmother's book, first editions of Twain, Dickens, Conrad, Conan Doyle, and having backyard adventures of his own. At 12, he decided to be a writer in college, went to school for filmmaking, but realized it was just an excuse to write. Mm-hmm. Filmmaking is just an excuse to write.
It was, yeah. Plus, it's expensive, and writing's not as expensive.
You wrote the novel Becoming Angel,
mm-hmm.
The Last Stage, which is a book of short stories, Stranger Souls, and a compilation of articles, The Doors Examined.
Right.
Now, Jim Morrison, big impact on your writing and your life.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that. 9:35 is the time. Good morning, everybody.
Just Jim Morrison and the Doors. Well, you read the part of my biography where, I read Twain and Conrad and all this. My grandmother, she had, like all these first editions, she was 85 in the 60s, so she had all these first editions that we inherited. So I was reading like really weird stuff for I'm an 8 and 9 year old, just really out there stuff, reading Sherlock Holmes,
Mm-hmm.
So I always had that background, and I became interested in poetry. I wanted to be a poet, right? And I was reading, I guess all the big poets of the time. Robert Frost was big, and I was even reading poetry, Thoreau's poetry,
mm-hmm.
and not
Henry David.
Yeah, Henry David Thoreau, and not even too many modern ones, just kind of the older generation ones.
Mm-hmm.
I read Walt Whitman in high school, and some Dylan Thomas, but that's as far as I got in more modern writers.
Right.
And then in the late 70s, the movie Apocalypse Now came out that used the Doors song "The End" in it at the beginning, and then the biography of Jim Morrison, "No One Here Gets Out Alive." So I went and I don't remember if anybody remembers the old Oak Brook Mall. Well, it's still there, but it was open air. Yeah, it was open air at the time. So I went and bought the book. I was sitting there reading it, and so I was like, this guy is pretty cool. He had the same kind of habits. Was kind of,
mm-hmm.
Introspective, and read poetry and wanted to be a poet, and and I said, yeah, that sounds familiar,
right, right.
And so I ran, because it was a mall, so I stopped reading the book, and then I ran to the record store, got their first album, and took it home, and I was hooked. I think probably a lot of people that are into the Doors probably do identify with Jim Morrison for various reasons.
Sure.
Those were my reasons, because like I said, just. He wanted to be a poet. I wanted to be a poet.
What was it about being a poet that you wanted to do? What was a poet? Why was a poet so fascinating as a young man?
That's a good question. I guess at the time, the romantic the romantic connotations of being a poet.
Sure.
And, maybe I had visions of Shelley and Yeats in my head. I don't know. Because at the time, also one of my influences is Hemingway. So that's, but I think one of the things that I discovered in, discovering other writers and everything, a lot of them started out writing poetry. Okay. And everything like that. So I think the writing of poetry helps, and this isn't my adult version now, that, that poetry is like the fine art, the painting of literature. You need to use the words in the poem. You need to use the words thickly and and more concisely than you do in short stories or novels. Right. In those you have more time, but in a poem you have to hit the points and that you want to make, and and do it in a way that people go wow.
Right. Exactly. The time is 9:39 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Our guest today is Mr. Jim Cherry, author of The Lion Commnuique on Amazon. And we'll be sure to put the link in the chat again or after the description so folks can check it out. Freddie is here. Good morning, Fred. Nieves, Sherry Melby, Mike Hess, and Marissa Amoni. Rachel Cleghorn says, wow, so powerful. Kids always play war, not peace. They don't. Zor Zapat is here. Good morning, Zor. And Heather and Matt Rainey are friends of Rent a Chef. So the 60s now was, not to be deliberately understated, but the 60s was a very climactic time in American history. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, your experiences in growing up in the 60s and then wanting to be a poet. What was life in the 60s like, and what was poetic about it to take that to a new generation and let people know about that, infuse a novel with that?
Right. Well, yeah, the 60s were a very cool time. I liked the time I grew up in. It was it seems like history to a lot of people and stuff now. But it was exciting. It was just exciting, space program. And I remember my mother waking me up early in the morning for Gemini liftoffs and things like that. And so it was very, and of course you heard on the news, about everything going on. Right. And like I said, I missed all the cool things. I was born in 1960, so, I was too young I wasn't at Grant Park for the Democratic Convention or anything like that. Yeah. Or I heard about them maybe second or third hand. And, and it's like, of course, Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King. Mm-hmm. Those movements were, more Martin Luther King as a movement was going on. And I think they were just exciting times to be alive and to experience. Right. And I think the way, so the whole mindset then was, let's change the world, right? Right. And so I know that I believe that,
right.
know.
Absolutely.
I always, to do something artistic is really kind of a conceit, because you have to think that you have something to say to the world, and for a 12-year-old to think that is kind of wild.
Especially if I don't know how you grew up with your parents, but especially being told you're young, shut up. Nobody wants to hear you talk. Or when the grown-ups are talking, you be quiet, kind of thing.
Yeah, and when I was younger, we did, that was kind of prevalent. Children are meant to be seen and not heard. Right. Especially at the dinner table. But, I kind of rebelled against that. But when I was younger, you're sitting around listening to the adults talk and everything, and gives you a worldview,
Right.
and and you pick up things. Whether think so or not. But of course, we did rebel against the children are meant to be seen and not heard thing. And maybe that was the whole thing with the 60s. Everybody thought the children were, or the kids.
Yeah, well, with the benefit of TV, when I look at stuff from the 60s and everything, it's interesting to me to see what they were rebelling against and what they were seeking for it to be at that time revolutionary. I think, what does that say about America? Or life in general, the human experience even. I mean, Prague was going through the same stuff in the 60s. They didn't have their Martin Luther King thing, but they definitely were rebelling. They were trying to shake off an old order.
Right.
And get something different. So what does it say about the whole thing, about life and reality?
Yeah. I think we're kind of going back for the 60s as a rebellion or maybe a renaissance, because you're coming right out of World War II and out of, coming out of World War II, most Americans had fathers or grandfathers in some kind of military service, right?
Right.
And of course, in military, there's always this. You have to have conformity and a chain of command and everything for it to be
individualism.
Right. No individualism. And I think after the war, they brought that philosophy into the suburbs and wanted a very structured and settled life after the chaos of a world war, right?
Right.
And the thing is that their children rebelled against that conformity and everything, and so I think even Jim Morrison said something about after a plague or a war, there's usually an artistic blooming or renaissance and everything.
Right.
So,
there is.
So out of the Dark Ages came the actual Renaissance.
That's right. Very well said. 9:46 is the time. Good morning, Zora Zapata. Once again, Marissa Amoni. April is National Poetry Month. What's happening in Aurora to celebrate? Poetry is such a source of comfort at times of grief, and it's a great way to celebrate too. Love, youth, etc. Are people looking to poetry now with current political issues? That is a good question. What do you think about that? Are people looking to poetry now because of current political issues?
I think I even asked a similar question like that on Twitter and Facebook a couple of years ago. I asked, where's all the political or the, in the 60s had the folk music of,
Yes. What was
Bob
his name?
Dylan.
I think we're thinking. Yep. Exactly.
So I was wondering where are those political commentators and music and everything? And people were bringing up rap and stuff. And of course, I'm obviously not a rap person.
I couldn't tell.
It's my music kind of ends with grunge and with Nirvana and Screaming Trees, but. So that's just right around the time rap started. Of course, what was that group that started rap or had the first rap song in
Sugar Hill Gang?
Yeah, Sugar Hill Gang. Yeah, so that was 78 or 80. So I think rap might be kind of filling that
void. I think so. To that thank you very much for that, Marissa. To that question, are people looking to poetry now with current political issues? I think that satire has definitely continued and gotten stronger with our current political stream. The cartoons, the political cartoons in the past 5-6 years have just been fantastic. I mean, they're great. So I think that perhaps that's probably taken to the question, probably taken a little bit more prominence than poetry. But I do know that people definitely have been writing and writing about great things. I've read a couple of good poems talking about some political issues and everything like that. But I don't know. That's very interesting to find out. Yeah. So what are you currently working on?
I am currently working on a novel called The Third Day.
Okay.
There's actually there's a short story in there called The Third Day that is the anchor of the book. And I said, this story has a lot more, can have a lot more to it than just, it's, I think, about 13,000 words or about 40 pages. So I said, but there's a lot more I can put in this story and everything. And I had, and actually to get it as a story in there, I had to cut down a lot of stuff. And and it's a good story, too. It's about these kids growing up in the 70s in Yugoslavia, and they're marksmen. And then they grow up, they're friends. They kind of have a frenemy thing going on. And, when the Bosnian War breaks out, they find themselves on opposite sides of the war. Since they're both marksmen, one becomes a sniper, and the other wants to stay out of it and everything. But that when his friend is the sniper, he's much too deadly and accurate. His skills are above average, so the other guy decides he has to kill his best friend so that others may live.
Takes a wolf to catch a wolf, right?
Yeah.
We read this. We read a little bit of this during your last interview, which really gives a good insight into your writing style. Vlad was lying in the rubble of a bombed-out building amid chunks of concrete and twisted steel. The surrounding buildings looked like tattered paper, their facades ripped off and exteriors exposed. Furniture still inside. They looked strangely enough like doll houses. Blocks of concrete with steel sticking out of them twisted into abstract sculptures of war. Bricks and powdered concrete poured into the streets like rivers frozen in destruction. Everything was covered in dust, all shades of gray, black, and white. War bleeds the color out of life. Man. Jim, you're a good writer, man.
Thank you. Especially when you read it.
Yeah, sometimes there's points in my life where I'm like, man, I really wish like Morgan Freeman would like read this part of my life. It'd be so cool right now. Saki Don is here. Good morning. Sign Gypsies City of Lights is here as well. They're a sign making company doing a whole lot of great stuff out there for weddings, graduations, and even the birth of your first child. 9:51's the time. Okay, now you were recently at Java Plus. Well, it wasn't recently.
Oh, September.
September,
yeah.
Those pictures were in September?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What was the event?
Well, it was a book signing
Okay.
for the Lion Commnuique. It wasn't a huge turnout, but a lot of people came. Enough people came, and that it was successful. And some family I haven't seen, some cousins that I hadn't seen in a while. And even as all the weirdest coincidence in the world, there was a guy there who was a book buyer for Barnes and Noble. And he read the book. He was sitting. I could see him reading the book and at his table and stuff. And then about 20 minutes later, he comes up to me and goes, "This is great." It's like
Wasn't no coincidence, man.
Yeah. It depends on your point of view. Is meant to happen or coincidence?
Well, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? Let's unpack that for the people. Let's do that.
I lean to coincidence. You want to go back to Jim Morrison for a minute. When the Doors were playing small clubs and everything, his girlfriend said, he'd always knock himself out at shows, do the best he could and everything. And she says, "Why are you knocking yourself out for just an audience of 2 or 3 people?" And he said, well, you never know when it's going to be your last show. And that it also kind of goes into something John Travolta said. Here's another, all these pulp culture references. John Travolta said, "You never know who's going to be in the audience."
Right.
It's like that 1 or 2 persons could be an agent or could be, looking to cast a show or something. So you never know who's going to be in that audience. And if you give a bad show,
Yeah.
they're just going to write you off. So
Yeah, I've I'll put my cards on the table a little bit. I've always, is it a coincidence? Is it fate? I'm a little bit of a spiritual guy, lowercase s.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never believed that. I've never believed too much in a coincidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have believed in the fact that, like, may not be a fact, but I have believed that something may have transpired to make both of these things happen at the same time, and it's called a coincidence. Like, there's an old saying, luck is the convergence of opportunity and preparedness.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So you're not lucky. It just so happened that you're a good guitar player,
Right.
and the dude from Fender was shopping when he saw you. Right.
Right.
You were prepared.
Right.
When the opportunity came.
Right.
So I think kind of more or less the same way about the whole coincidence thing. It's like you were prepared at that time. When he was looking. Yeah. Because it could have went the other way. Like, this is the worst book I ever read. Who wrote this?
Let's not say
Who the hell's
that.
Jim Chen? Let's not say that. No, not at all. So the time is 9:54. The book, ladies and gentlemen, that we're discussing is The Lion Commnuique. Thank you, Alex. The Lion Commnuique by Jim Cherry, local author. This book is fantastic, and we will put the link to the Amazon link, in the description of this video as well, so that you can check it out and purchase at your leisure. Also, Jim is working on a current book right now. Any ideas when that'll be finished?
I'm trying.
Don't mean to rush a writer, but
I'm pushing it because, as I mentioned to you before we came on, that I talked to an editor at a small publishing house, and she's interested in it. So I told her I was about halfway done, so she said she wanted to read the whole manuscript. Basically, I gave her the same pitch that I told you about the story. So, so when it's done, she wants to read the whole manuscript. So I'm pushing myself to get it done by July. I think I'm on one version right now that I was going to go back home and write when I leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I'm hoping to finish that in a month or so, and then go right back into it and do the last run through, and hopefully I can send it to her in about July.
Do you have any book signings coming up or any pop-up events where people can meet you and see you?
Well, pop-up events, I go at store a lot, or shopping. If and the book is not exclusively available on Amazon. You can, of course, get it at Barnes and Noble or your local bookstores, or the Oswego Library also carries the Lion Commnuique, and so you can get it on interlibrary loan from them. So if you want to check out the book but don't want to buy it or can't, are a little short on money.
I'm glad you brought that up. So we support the local libraries around here. We support our library. Libraries are fantastic institutions. The book is The Lion Commnuique. Go to your library and ask if they have this book, and be sure to check it out. Let them know you heard about it on Good Morning Aurora.
Yeah. And they can get it for you on interlibrary loan. So if you're not in Oswego.
Right. So 9:57 is the time. As we start to land the airplane. What's your message to the creatives out there, the people who are writing, considering writing, and those people who want to be poets?
Right. That's the only thing you can do. Write what you're feeling, write what you see. Maybe write what you see and what you feel about that.
Right.
And then keep at it. It's like, if somebody, you hear all those stories about, you'll never, you better think of another occupation. You're never going to make it at this. It's like, forget them, just kind of follow, your destiny, or what you consider your destiny, and, keep going at it. You have to get day jobs and stuff. Sometimes you don't. I wish I'd written that book when I was in my 20s. I would be a famous author. But you got to build up. Some people get there faster than others, and it just, I think, what is it? You have to write, I don't know, you have to practice, like, what is it, 10,000 hours or something at something before you get good at it.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the writers, like Jack Kerouac, who's another kind of cultural influence, but from the 50s, he wrote literally millions of words before his big book, On the Road, broke. And so, it's like...
you can't get discouraged.
Right.
You have to keep going. You got to keep trying. And that's the constant.
Yeah, there's plenty of forces out there that will try to stop you and will stop you if you let them, but that's the thing, you can't let them. Right.
Yep. You can't let the wolves win.
Right.
And remember, wolves aren't always physical. Time is 9:59 a.m. I want to say thank you very much to Jim for coming back on our show for a second time. Once again, do not forget that the book is The Lion Commnuique by Jim Cherry, available at your library or on interlibrary loan if they don't have it. And it's a fantastic book. And the praise for The Lion Commnuique is very deserved indeed by Jack Preston King, Douglas Lumsden, and Rich Weedman, to name a few. I want to say thank you guys very much for watching the show. Good Morning Aurora has a lot of great news for you guys coming up. Also want to say good morning to Emir and Ruby Sue. Tomorrow's weather, and Wednesday and Thursdays with Ruby Sue, and Emir will return on Friday with his weather portion. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have a blessed, safe, and positive day. Take care of yourself and each other.
Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.